Hello, fans, and welcome to This Day in Baseball, where we're going to bring you a full radio broadcast of today's game. And before we do that, I just want to thank Classic Baseball Radio, and there's a link in the notes where you can check out their full channel. They have many great radio broadcasts. And while you're listening to today's game, if you want to check out much more about the game and the players, look on the links below, and you're going to see links to player pages, the date the game happened, the year it happened, and the play-by-play. Enjoy the game, and check out the links while you're watching the game. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time new content comes out, you're going to get that firsthand. And thank you again for checking out This Day in Baseball, and enjoy the game.
This copyrighted recording is licensed by Major League Baseball. Any reproduction or other commercial use of this recording, in whole or in part, is prohibited.
The singing of our national anthem, and very beautifully done by the chorus of the Chesapeake, seated out in the right center section, which is the open part of Memorial Stadium, as we're about set to get Game 1 of the World Series of 1971 underway. Commissioner Billy Coon down on the left side of the stadium here, as the Baltimore dugout is to the third base side, will toss in the first ball. You know, as one of America's major trade unions, the Retail Clerks International Association brings the benefits of democracy to the place of employment of more than 600,000 store workers with good wages and good working conditions. The Retail Clerks Unions, believing in the democratic processes of the government, urge all Americans to be sure and register to vote. This message from the Retail Store Employees Union in your community, chartered by the Retail Clerks International Association, Washington, D.C., 20006. What is the Boeing 747? We pause 10 seconds for station identification.
This is KGW in Portland. Current temperature 59 degrees, expected high in the 80s. High tomorrow in the mid-70s, low tonight 48.
The umpires, as we have called them for you, have now taken their position. It'll be 309 down both lines. Then it falls out gradually to 360, 380 in left center, right center, and 410 straight away. There is a concrete wall here that is 14 feet high. It's a bird stretch of field, and the wire fence in center field is 7 feet high. And now, sets to call the play-by-play for you as Game 1 of the 1971 World Series is about underway. Here's Jim Simpson.
Thanks, Bob Prince. Dave McNally, who has lost only one ball game since May the 28th. And, of course, he had that 13-game winning streak, as did Pittsburgh's Doc Ellis, now on the mound. And in a moment, we'll begin his warm-up with Ellie Hendricks. Baltimore trying to repeat its championship of a year ago. And, of course, 2 years ago, they were also in the World Championship and lost in that thrilling series with the New York Mets. This is something of a milestone for broadcasting of the World Series. It was 50 years ago that Grantland Rice, the former sports writer and broadcaster, voiced the first broadcast of a World Series. Now, 50 years later, here we are at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. And this is the 25th year that it has been on television and will be seen in far places by way of television. Our radio broadcast today will be heard throughout Europe, Asia, the Caribbean, South America, on American Forces Network everywhere, and to all, as they say, the ships at sea. Dave Cash, hitting at 289. Fine hitter, but when you talk about the Pirates, they're all fine hitters. Steps in, right-handed batter to face Dave McNally. McNally 12-2 at home this year. He is starting his 6th World Series game. He has been involved in 3 no decisions. His record is 2-1 in World Series competition, 2.48. The left-hander to pitch to the right-hander, Cash. Cash, during the regular season, hit 289, 2 home runs, and 34 RBIs. And they play Dave, who does not have great power, straight away. McNally ready for the first pitch of the series, and it is ball 1. Too low to Cash. Gene Klein waits on deck. McNally said he would have butterflies, but once he got started to be all right. Line drive, center field, overcomes Merv Whitman and has ball. Soft line drive to Whitman. Powell is the first baseman, Dave Johnson at second, Mark Belanger at short, Brooks Robinson, remember the year he had 1 year ago at third base. Don Buford is in left, Retzman in center, Frank Robinson in right, Ellie Hendricks behind the plate, and McNally now set to pitch to Gene Clark. Hines, as Bob told you, not known as the starter, known as Jose Pagan until, about an hour before the game. Rich Hebner at third base, Al Oliver in center field had such a great National League Championship Series against the Giants, there was some question. Strike from McNally to Clark. Slider in at the knees. But Murtaugh went with the percentages and is sending up his right-handers to face the left-handed McNally. 1 out, 1 strike, change, and Cash, or rather Klein, swings and misses. It's strike 2. Earl Weaver, the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, is probably the most computer-minded, statistically minded manager in the major leagues. He goes over all of the facts and figures that he has before him before he makes up a lineup. Foul down the right field line and bounces off the rolled up tarp down there. And it's still 2 strikes to Klein. Roberto Clemente on deck. And Weaver said despite the fine power of the Pittsburgh Pirates, whether from the right side or left side, he found a reason why he should start a left-hander. That reason, he will tell us once the World Series is over. The 2-strike pitch to Klein is way high with fastball. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Temperature an hour ago was 64 degrees. Temperature game time was 62 degrees. Barnes with a 1 ball, 2 strike count on him. A good 2-strike hitter pops this one up to the left side. Buford was playing very deep. Belanger goes out. Buford calls him off and takes it for the second out. Well, McNally gets the first 2 in a row, and that brings up Roberto Clemente. Clemente, .341 hitter during the regular season. 13 home runs, 86 RBIs, a superstar. No question about it. And you can hear the crowd begin to buzz as Clemente steps up. It's .352 last year, .341 this year. His career average over .316. And Clemente put on quite a show in batting practice before the game was over. Nice, easy swings, and he was popping them down the left field line and into the seats. Although Clemente hits a lot to right, and the Orioles play him to hit to right as the first pitch is on the outside corner. Strike 1. McNally, as most other pitchers, will work Roberto Clemente to the outside of the plate. 2 out, no score when the top of the first World Series game from Baltimore. And there is some sunshine, despite the fact the lights are on. Hit deep to right field. Back goes Robinson, back goes Retzman. The ball is off the wall. Clemente's on his way around to second base. Into the cutoff man. Johnson gets by him to Belanger, and Clemente's in with a stand-up double. And that will bring up Willie Stargell, the Major League's leading home run hitter with 48. Second to Joe Torre in the National League with 125 RBIs. And if you've been following the National League action, Willie Stargell went 0 for 14 in that National League Championship Series. The Orioles are fighting to death that Stargell will break out here in the World Series. Clemente down at second. 2 out. Stargell, the left-hander, stands in against the left-hander McNally, who throws outside and low with a breaking pitch. It's ball 1. In the Giant-Pirate Championship Series, they were having great luck with Stargell, pitching him tight and up, jamming him. 1 ball, no strike. Stargell, a pull hitter, and Baltimore plays him. The pull. Again, off the outside corner, breaking pitch. It's 2-0. Stargell pulls the ball, dead pull hitter. They play him that way, but can hit to the opposite field. Matter of fact, one of his outs in that National League Championship Series was a well-hit line drive, but caught in deep left. 2-0 the count, and swinging and a foul tip back to the screen. 2 balls, 1 strike. Clemente, who was quite a star 11 years ago in his last World Series, his only other World Series, has a double to right field. The first hit of the ball game. Cash started off, lining to center, climbs a soft pop to left. Clemente's double to right. Stargell with a count of 2 balls, 1 strike. Bob Robertson waits on deck. McNally's pitch misses outside again. It's 3-1. Darjo looks down to Coach Frank Osiak at third base, steps back in. Don Leppard is the coach, laying well in back of that coaching box at first in case Darjo should throw one foul. Clemente lead off second base. Natale ready to throw, and he goes around on a pitch. Breaking pitch on the outside of the plate. Just did break the wrist. And that's the Shylock behind the plate says that's strike two. Crowd here today, more than 50,000 capacity. We understand around the United States and around the world, more than 50 million are listening to our broadcast today. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Foul tipped at the plate. And Sargent just did get a piece of that ball. Well, he was guilty of looking as though he was guessing a lot in Pittsburgh against the Giants. Here he looks like he is swinging and swinging hard and well. But has yet to hit the ball solidly. Fouled a couple back and fouled one at the plate. 3-2. Clemente has stretched his lead a little bit at second base with 2 outs. Pitch strikes him out on a breaking pitch. Sargent goes down swinging. And so the Pirates, no runs, 1 hit, the Clemente double, no errors, and Clemente left at second base. In the middle of the first, Pittsburgh nothing, and the Baltimore Orioles coming to bat.
Everybody. It doesn't go. It goes. A happy sound that means fun for kids of all ages. The National Bowling Council says there's little or no waiting weekends and daytimes during the week. Get your crowd together and aim for something different. Bowling. It's for everybody. A whale of a lot of fun for very little money.
With Jim Simpson, Bob Prince speaking to you from Baltimore, Memorial Stadium, where there's no score. A 2-out ramming double is described by Jim by Roberto Clemente, left-handed, when McNally went to the mustard and struck out Willie Stargell. Now the Orioles come to bat against Doc Ellis, and here's Jim.
Don Buford, 290 on the season, but Buford is called the greatest leadoff man without question in the history of the Baltimore Orioles. This year, he led the American League in runs scored with 98, and he reached first base 41% of the time in his leadoff role. 290 is average, 19 home runs, has good power, 54 RBIs, and Buford is a switch hitter. Can play the infield or outfield, facing Doc Ellis, who has a fastball, 2 different kinds of a fastball, one that sinks and one that rises. And catcher Manny Sanguina has 2 different signals. But he starts him out with a breaking pitch, ground ball to Dave Cash at second, throws on to Bob Robertson, and we have 1 out on 1 pitch. Bob Robertson, the first baseman, Cash at second, Jackie Hernandez, the shortstop, Jose Pagan at third, Willie Stargell in left, Gene Klein in center, Roberto Clemente in right, and Ian behind the plate. And 19-game winner Doc Ellis on the mound. Here is Merv Retman, taking high, ball 1. Retman hit .318 during the season. Third in the American League statistics. Behind winner Tony Oliva and the Yankees' Bobby Mercer. No score, 1 out, last of the first. Another breaking pitch, beat into the ground, charging is Hernandez at shortstop, comes up, goes on to first base, he's got it, by a step. Fine play by Merv Retman on Merv Retman's ground ball. Hernandez, playing rather deep at short, had to charge to the grass and get rid of the ball in a hurry. You're not hearing boos, but rather you're hearing the call boos. Here comes Boos Powell, the big first baseman, hitting a .256, 22 home runs and 92 RBIs, and bothered all year long, first by a broken right wrist and more recently by ligaments torn in the back of his right hand. Last Monday in the second game of the American League Championship playoffs, Boo could hardly stand up there, did not take infield fielding practice, curveball strike 1, and yet hit 2 home runs. Practically hitting him one-handed. Powell with tremendous power. 1 strike to him. And Ellis, we've been talking about his fastball, has gotten the first 2 men on breaking pitches and throws Powell a second breaking pitch, swings and misses strike 2. Hernandez is on the first base side of second. Cash has come over near Robertson at first, who's playing off the line, and the only man on the left side of the infield is Pagan, playing normally where the shortstop plays. Scouting reports have told Pittsburgh what the American Leaguers know. He pulls the ball. Bouncing ball from the grass comes Hernandez. First base out of second. Easy play. And on breaking pitches, Ellis gets them 1, 2, 3. All on ground balls. No runs, hits or errors, none less. We've gone to the first inning. And the score, Pittsburgh nothing and Baltimore nothing.
This is Kyle Rowe with some more baseball fans getting their first look at a revolutionary new two-bladed razor from Gillette. The new Gillette Track 2 twin-blade shaving system.
The two blades may work together. What one doesn't catch, the other might catch.
I've never seen any other razor like it. The two blades is very different.
Got two blades, one following the other. Certainly worth trying.
Strange-looking razor with a lot of possibilities.
The new Gillette Track 2 razor. It's one blade better than whatever you're using now.
Well, I don't know how they're going to top its predecessor, but they always keep coming up with a better one.
Gillette Foamy says,
B&O smoothie, B&O softy. Your beard's like putty in the hands of a cream like me. I'm a rich shave cream, #1 shave cream. I'll shave you clean and close, try and see.
Gillette Foamy shaves you so clean and close, you'll be an old smoothie.
Lemon lime, menthol, dirt spray, regular, foamy.
With Jim Simpson, Bob Prince speaking to you from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore as the Buccos will now come to bat. And there's one thing going, Jim, that you mentioned a moment ago. Doc Ellis working on breaking stuff in the very first inning. Somewhat of a surprise. Bob Robertson will step in against McNally, who struck out Stargell with Clemente at second with the fastball. Robertson had that great series against the Giants for the National League Championship. Swings on the first pitch, a breaking pitch. It's strike one. Robertson, you'll recall, in the Sunday game, Pittsburgh at San Francisco, second game of the National League Championship, had 3 home runs plus a double, led him to a 9-4 victory. Then the first time up, as the Pirates went back to Pittsburgh, he homered again. Strike one pitch is popped up. Powell will make the seats and back at home plate. No scores. We start the top of the second. Danny Murtaugh, the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, allows us how perhaps the Baltimore press and the Baltimore fans are underestimating the Pittsburgh Pirates, and cautions them that about 3 years ago, the Baltimore fans and press underestimated the New York Jets' chances against the Baltimore Colts in the Super Bowl, and you know that story. Fastball misses outside. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes to Robertson. Meanwhile, manager Earl Weaver of the Baltimore Orioles says, our team is the best team ever in the history of Major League Baseball. Take your pick. Breaking pitch just misses inside to Robertson. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Leadoff batter was Sanguillen, a .319 hitter, swinging a weighted bat on deck. Lights have been on now for an hour, but there's little or no possibility of rain this afternoon. Tomorrow might be the problem. McNally has a sign from Hendricks, ready with a 2-2 pitch, comes back, and it's over everybody. Hendricks' outstretched glove gets off the screen and back at home plate. And Robertson from Mount Savage, Maryland, is out in front of McNally 3-2. Robertson listed out of Frostburg, and being a Marylander myself, I asked him, he said, well, really, Frostburg's the big town. I'm from Mount Savage, down the road. I said, well, I know where that is. He said, well, that's where I was born and raised. 3 balls, 2 strikes. McNally ready and throws high and misses and walks his first man. So Robertson drops down to first base, and here's Manny Sanguillen. Sanguillen is the type of hitter that won't walk too many times. He comes up there to swing away. And he hits well. .319, 7 home runs, and listen to this, 81 RBIs, and he's the number 6 man in the batting order. Go down the lineup. When you have Hebner in there, and Oliver in there, and match their RBIs with Clemente's 86, Stargell's 125, Robertson's 72, Sanguillen's 81. The Pirates, second in the National League in hitting to St. Louis, but 13 points ahead of the Orioles team average. But believe it or not, the Orioles in fewer games out-homered the Pirates this year. Robertson, little or no threat to go, stays there. Sanguillen fouls the first pitch, strike one. If you look out at the flags in right field, it looks as though it's blowing from left to right. If you look out at the flags in left field, it looks as though it's blowing from right to left. Word is here at Memorial Stadium, it seldom blows in or out, but rather across the diamond. McNally looks at Robertson, throws the ball, it gets by Hendricks, it was in the dirt, and Robertson easily makes it down to second base. ball is in the dirt. Hendricks got his glove on it. It's a wild pitch. And now Hendricks will walk out to talk to McNally. McNally pitched the opener of the American League Championships against Vida Blue. Went into the clubhouse a loser, but the Orioles came up with 4 runs, and he was a winner in the clubhouse. And they've been calling Dave McNally all year long, and for several seasons, as a matter of fact, Dave McLucky. Van Gien steps back in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Robertson down to second, none out, no score. Top of the second, World Series from Baltimore. Actually played Van Gien to hit more to right. Everybody swung in the outfield that way. McNally ready, throws a fastball, misses too low. 2 balls, 1 strike. McNally is a pretty good control pitcher, averaging only a little bit more than 2 walks per 9 innings pitched. He is not a strikeout pitcher, although he's already struck out Cardinals. Usually strikes out about 3 or 4 per ball game. McNally looks back at Robertson, throws, ground ball, aim for Belanger, the shortstop, goes third base, looks Robinson, it hits the runner, Robertson, he gets up on his way as the ball rolls into the dugout to score. It is 1-0. The Pirates is down to second base on the fielder's choice. And the throwing error charge to Belanger that hits the runner goes Van Gien. Well, the play again. Robertson at second base. Belanger had plenty of time to get the ball to Brooks Robinson, but Belanger's throw hit Robertson in the back of the head and bounded into the Baltimore dugout. He was waved on home. Van Gien, who reached on the fielder's choice, went down to second on the throwing error. Here's Jose Pagan. McNally misses outside, ball 1. And so the Pirates have scored first in the 1971 World Series. On a walk, a wild pitch, and an error against a team that is known for its pitching and defense. McNally ready, looking down at Van Gien, who does have good speed, throws bounding ball in front of the plate. McNally has to wait for it to come down, goes on to first base, as Van Gien easily makes it to third base. Ball was in the air so long that Van Gien could have rounded third base by the time it came down. Pagan is out, and here's Jackie Hernandez. Hernandez, the shortstop, 206 during the regular season, 3 home runs, 26 RBIs, and in the last month or so called on to fill in quite a bit. But Gene Alley, who over the last 2 or 3 years has had arm and shoulder problems. 1 out now. The Baltimore infield comes in. It's 1-0 the Pirates. And remember, here at Memorial Stadium, it is not an artificial turf. A little bit more difficult for the ball to scoot through or drawn up infield. McNally throws the bunt. Back to McNally, comes to home plate. Through under Hendricks, it gets by him. And the runner is safe at home, and down to second goes Hernandez. And we have 2 errors in 2 plays, and it's 2-0 Pittsburgh. Talk about the superior defense of the Baltimore Orioles. They've had 2 lapses now. As Hernandez reaches on the fielder's choice and goes on down to second as the ball gets through Hernandez. And they are charging the catcher with the error, not the pitcher. Here's Doc Ellis. Doc, not much of a hitter in previous years, hit over 200 this year, takes a strike on the outside. We'll wait the official score to see whether or not that is a sacrifice, an RBI. But on the throwing error, obviously the scorer believes that he would have been out. But it's 2-0. Strike 1 pitch to Ellis, just off the corner. It is 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, how about that? Bob Robertson lit off with a walk, went down on a wild pitch. Van Gien bounced her. Belanger threw into the back of Robertson, going to third. He scored. Van Gien went to second. Pagan bounced out. Van Gien going to third. And on the ball getting away from Hernandez, whether Hendricks the catcher, Hernandez was safe, and Van Gien scored and 2-0. Ellis swings and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now Doc Ellis, switch hitter. As we said, in other years, Doc has hit 100 or below. This year, he hit a 203. Of course, this is also by far and away his best year as a pitcher with 19 victories. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hernandez down at second. There's 1 out. And now there are 2 as Ellis strikes out at a high fastball. Second strikeout for McNally. And here's Dave Cash, who lined to Redmond to start the ball game. Pirates 2, Orioles nothing. We're in the top of the second. Talk about the Pittsburgh power. They have scored without a base hit. Talk about the Baltimore defense. They've allowed 2 runs on 2 errors and a walk and a wild pitch. Cash hits the first pitch he saw. Makes up the second. Hits the first pitch this time. Drive to right center field. Around comes Hernandez on his way home, and it is 3-0 as Cash delivers a single to right center field, hitting the first pitch. Here as out comes Earl Weaver to talk to Dave McNally. And at this moment, the Baltimore bullpen for the first time gets busy. And you talk about it, McNally has given up a walk and a wild pitch and 1 base hit. But he is down by the score of 3-0 as there have been 2 errors. Brent Jackson and Dave Leonard have begun to warm up. Now, for Baltimore fans, wherever you are, McNally and the Orioles fell behind to the Oakland A's 3-0 in the first game of the American League Championship and came back to win it. That particular game plus the championship. Gene Klein to fly to short left, the batter. We have 2 outs. At first base, Cash to score 3-0, Pittsburgh. McNally now ready after the conference and throws a fastball strike. Klein swung and missed. Nestor Shylock, the plate umpire. Here is Dave McNally, loser of only 1 game since May the 28th. 12-2 at home and in trouble. Now the move to first base, and Cash is back. Dave Cash at first base, leading off, has good speed, but not in the class of Gene Klein's, the batter. Ready with a strike 1 pitch. McNally throws. Bouncing ball. Belanger shortstop. Looks to second and throws to second. He has plenty of time, perhaps to throw to get Klein, but remember, Klein is fast. He just does get Cash at second by half a step on the 4th. And 3-run score on just 1 base hit. There were 2 Baltimore errors, and there's 1 man left. We go to the last of the second inning. The Pittsburgh Pirates 3, the Baltimore Orioles nothing.
Can't worry about it. Too much driving to do. Can't have a car that's not running right. You know, a lemon.
A lemon. Maybe you've got one. Then again, maybe what you've got is a dirty carburetor.
I took it into the station, and the guy says nothing wrong with this car. A can of STP gas treatment couldn't fix it. Said it's got power to clean, power to burn. Sounds good, I said. You know what? It is.
STP double power gasoline treatment. You'll really feel the difference.
I got a name for it. Lemonade.
With Jim Simpson, Bob Prince, here in Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, where the Pirates have the lead by the score of 3-0 going into the Baltimore second. You know, the Retail Clerks International Association has in its ranks many thousands of teenage store workers who, through their union, enjoy good working conditions. The Retail Clerks Union urges the millions of American youth to register to vote and to reject harmful drugs so that they can help mold the future of our country with clear heads and healthy bodies. This message from the Retail Store Employees Union in your community, chartered by the Retail Clerks International Association, Washington, D.C., 20006. Baltimore comes to bat here now in the bottom of the second, and here's Jim Simpson.
And here's Frank Robinson, hitting at 281, second in the league in RBIs with 99. Right-handed batter to step in against the right-handed pitcher Doc Ellis, who on 3 breaking pitches retired Buford, Redmond, and Powell in the Baltimore first on ground ball. Breaking pitch misses inside to Frank Robinson. Frank Robinson and Willie Stargell, who has been up once today. These two great stars are 1 for 27 total in postseason play. Another breaking pitch, and Robinson goes around swinging at this one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Doc Ellis on the mound. 19-game winner. Trouble with a sore elbow, but staked to a 3-0 lead. Tall right-hander. Looking into Manu Sanguilla. They play Robinson around to the left and deep. He picks on a breaking pitch. Back goes Stargell in left field, looking up. Oh, it was on the scoreboard. 3-1. Ellie Hendricks steps in, and Bob Prince. We were talking about the fastball of Ellis. That which rises, that which sinks. And Doc has been almost exclusively a breaking ball pitcher. Thus far, he got the first 3, but that one hurt him. He hung it out, and Robinson put it away.
Well, he certainly did, and you don't hang one to Frankie Robinson without something happening, and it did.
Ellie Hendricks, left-handed batter, hits the first one off the fifth and pulls it foul to the right. The Orioles have a run back. It's 3-1. This is the kind of ball game you expect in the Baltimore-Pittsburgh World Series. Perhaps not the lapses on defense, but rather the scoring of runs. And already with less than 2 innings to go, it is 3-1. Hendricks waits. Ellis throws fastball, high bouncer. In comes Hernandez. Cash cuts in front of him, sat on throw, and has Hendricks at first base for the first out. And here comes Brooks Robinson. Robinson, with all of those great plays at third base last year, plus hitting over 400 in the World Series. Doc Ellis starts him out with a curveball. He sends it to center field. Gene Klein drops back about 370 feet away and hauls it in. Robinson, called by the Pittsburgh scout one of the most feared hitters on the Oriole Ball Club, flies to center. And Dave Johnson, a 282 hitter, comes up. Frank Robinson has just hit his 7th series home run. He has hit one in at least every one of the series he's played in, and this for Robbie is his 5th series. Here's Dave Johnson, 3-1 the score, last of the second. Pittsburgh leads. Ellis ready to throw to the right-handed Johnson. Like one call. Johnson just stands there, stands midway in the batter's box, straight up stands. Hernandez pulled around in the hole, kind of deep but short. Fastball catches the inside corner. It is 2 strikes. Johnson stares out at Ellis, who has had elbow trouble, did not pitch after that initial victory last Sunday, and there was question whether or not Doc would be able to pitch in the World Series. But here he is starting and has a 3-1 lead. Fastball right back to Ellis, who stands on the mound and just nonchalants it into his glove. But 1 run scores on the Frank Robinson home run, his 7th in World Series play. No errors, none left. We've gone 2 complete innings. Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore 1.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. The very best car I ever owned in my life was a Plymouth, a 1954 Plymouth 6 that my brother Roy helped me buy just before I began my recording career. Then the Tennessee 2 and I traveled more than 100,000 miles in that 1954 Plymouth. Big record royalties weren't coming in back then, so I was a little bit afraid to go around spending a lot of money on big fancy cars. The Plymouth did the job for us in the beginning of my career, and even today, as I just said, the Plymouth is the very best car I ever owned. From the inside to the outside, it's a car that's here to stay. That's the kind of car that's coming through today. Chrysler Plymouth coming through.
Clemente leads off, the Pirate third, and takes outside ball 1. McNally behind 3-1 to the Pirates as we begin the 3rd inning. Clemente, Stargell, and Robertson. McNally right back and catches the outside corner this time with a breaking pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates sent 7 men to bat in the second inning. 3 runs scored on 2 errors and 1 base hit. But then he reaches out and punches a change to center field for a base hit. Round first with a big turn. Beckman up with the ball, and Clemente is 2 for 2. That's the 3rd hit for the Pirates. McNally did something off that pitch. It was, I believe, outside of the strike zone. Clemente, who loves to hit the ball, reaching across the plate, punched it to center field for a base hit. Here's Stargell, 0 for 15 in postseason play. 0 for 1 in today's World Series. Takes up high, ball 1. Stargell struck out on a 3-2 fastball. 309 down each line. 380 in the power alleys, 410 straight away. Lights are on, 3-1 the score. Clemente leads off at first. Pitch is low and away. Makes that just outside the Stargell. 2-0. McNally, 28 years old, born out in Billings, Montana. Now lives in nearby Lutherville, Maryland. Looks over at Clemente. Throws. High again. It is 3-0 to Stargell, who looks down to Frank Ocean. Bob Robertson waits on deck. If you have not followed the Pirates all year long, this is an impressive lineup they send up. They can swing that bat. Ready with the 3-0. Stargell takes the strike. Leonhard, Dave Leonard, is now throwing, and Jackson is sat down in the Baltimore bullpen. 3-1 pitch down the middle. It's 3-2. Stargell was at 3-2 with Clemente at second when he struck out to end the first. Clemente's at first now with none out, but the count is 3-2. In the first, Stargell went down swinging at a fastball. Pops it up, foul, out of play. Behind home plate. Count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes as the ball hits the screen and rolls down in front of it. Pirates 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors. Baltimore 1 run, 1 hit, and 2 very damaging errors, both in the second inning. Stargell and McNally set again. The sun, what there was of it, has now disappeared. We're under overcast skies again. Pitch misses outside. He has walked Stargell. Clemente drops down to second. Second walk given up by Dave McNally, and here comes Bob Robertson, who drew the first walk in the 3-2 pitch also, back in the second inning. And later came around the score. Leonard continues to throw in the Baltimore bullpen. Robertson, right-hander, steps in. Lots of power. This year, though, he's had some knee problems, had some hand problems, in and out of the lineup. McNally ready with 2 men on and none out. Throws to Robertson, who swings and misses. Strike 1. George Stoller, who is the first base coach of the Orioles, handed in the lineup 14 games ago after Baltimore had dropped some out in Detroit. Baltimore won, so manager Earl Weaver kept allowing Stoller to hand in that lineup. Stoller is now 14-0, but he's in danger now. So are the Orioles. McNally ready for the 1-strike pitch. Comes back, and it's foul at the plate. 2 strikes to Bob Robertson. Incredible, Bob Grinch tells me that the Pirates were rained out once this year, and had they been able to wait perhaps an hour, that wouldn't have happened. Baltimore has been rained out 14 times this year in the regular season, plus the opening of the championship 1 week ago today. They're to be in danger being rained out tomorrow, according to the forecast. 2 strikes to count. McNally ready and throws up high. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bob Robertson. Clemente down at second base. Stargell with the walk on at first. Clemente is now 2 for 2. The more than 50,000 who are here are rather quiet at the moment, being primarily Baltimore fans. In center field, there's a huge American flag. With only a few stars on it, a replica of the flag that flew at Fort McHenry, which is right here in Baltimore, during the Battle of the British, in which Francis Scott Key wrote our national anthem. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Robertson. Swings and misses. from Dave McNally. One out now, and here's Manny Sanguillen. It was Sanguillen who bounced the ball to shortstop Belanger with Robertson on at second. Belanger came up with the ball in the second inning, threw on to third base, trying to get the running Robertson, but hit Robertson, and Sanguillen reached on the fielder's choice and went down to second on the throwing error by Belanger and later scored. And that was on an error when Hendricks allowed a ball from McNally to get through his legs. 3-1 the score. Sanguillen right-handed batter. McNally throws a flat on the inside corner. Strike one. One strike to Sanguillen. On deck, Jose Pagar. Second game, rain permitting, here tomorrow, day off Monday. Third game in Pittsburgh on Tuesday. Fouled at the plate. And on Wednesday, the first night game in the history of the World Series. Wednesday night. Pittsburgh has been rough against left-handers, 39-19 during the regular season. There's some raised eyebrows among National League followers when Earl Weaver, who has 4 20-game winners, 2 right-handers, 2 left-handers, went with the left-hander. McNally back, strike 3. On the outside corner, Sanguillen half offered at it. Strike either way, whether he broke his wrist or called out. There's another oddity for you. He said that McNally doesn't strike out too many, only 3 or 4 ball games. He has struck out already in less than 3 innings, 4 men. And he only walks about 2 a ball game. He has already walked 2 men. Here's Pagan, who bounced back to McNally in the second inning. Pirates lead it 3-1 when the top of the third. McNally ready. Drive left field. Overcomes Buford with a lot of speed. He is there, stopped and has it. After having 2 men on base, McNally gets it 1, 2, 3, striking out 2 of the last 3 men. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. We go to the last of the third. The Pirates lead the Orioles 3-1.
You know, it takes more than good performance for a team to win the pennant and get into the series. It takes great performance, free for the money performance. A World Series team has to excel in all 3, hitting, pitching, and fielding. It's a lot like that in gasoline, too. Good performance isn't enough. The gasoline that's going to get you everything your car has to give you great performance. Free for the money performance. Not just quick starts, not just good mileage, not just cleansing action, but all free. And that's just what you get from Phillips Free for the Money Performance gasoline. Quick start, good mileage, and cleansing action. And that adds up to great performance. Get it now at the Phillips 66 station nearest you. At Phillips 66, it's performance that counts. Well, Doc Ellis now will go against the power-laden Baltimore Oriole Ball Club, and it would seem, Jim Simpson, that McNally has settled down a little bit, and as you pointed out, his strikeouts have stood him in very good stead.
That's right, Bob, and we'll also point out, not that it will happen today, who knows what will happen, but against Vida Blue, the Orioles were down by 3 and came back to win it. And Baltimore has a habit of pecking away at you. Doesn't necessarily get that big inning, but will hang in there and never let the game get out of sight. Pittsburgh, of course, has a habit of overwhelming other people. That's a great hitting ball club. Mark Belanger had a fine year for him, hitting .266, hit the bouncing ball up the middle, cast it back to second base, on through for the second base hit for the Baltimore Orioles. And now McNally, who shares a home run record for pitchers in a World Series with 2, and is the only pitcher hit a grand slam in the World Series, steps up. Hit one, as I recall, of Wayne's Rangers Cincinnati a year ago. McNally steps in, has 2 home runs during the regular season this year. In on the grass comes Pagan, expecting a bunt, but McNally swings away at a breaking ball. It's strike 1. Robertson is charging from first, Pagan from third. Has been primarily a breaking ball pitcher thus far. Now comes with a breaking ball. That is a called strike 2. Everybody again charging, and now McNally looks down to Billy Hunter, the coach at third base, to see what it is he must do with a 2-strike count. George Stoller, the coach at first. Will they have him bunting, or will they have him swing away? Bunt foul, it's a strikeout at first. He's swinging around the bunt, misses outside. Everybody charging again. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now they're looking down to see whether or not first base umpire Ed Sudol will say that since McNally squared around, he offered it the pitch and it should be strike 3. And now Danny Murtaugh is coming out and looking down, and Ed Sudol at first supports Mr. Shylock. McNally actually squared around. His bat out as if to bunt. The ball was outside, and Shylock said that is ball 1. He did not offer the pitch, therefore it is not strike 3. Well, it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pagan and Robertson again preparing to break in. Ellis throws, squares around the bunt, and this time he's out. Misses the pitch, strike 3. First strikeout for Doc Ellis. On the breaking ball. Here's John Buford. Hits the first pitch he saw. Breaking ball back into first and grounded out. Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore 1, last of the third, 1 out, and Mark Belanger on at first base and Buford the batter. Ellis throws a fastball inside and low. It is ball 1 to Buford. There may be an empty seat or two here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, but I can't see it. Well over 50,000. Ellis pitching out of the stretch, throws a breaking ball. It catches the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Buford steps away and looks at umpire Nestor Shylock. Because of Buford's fine speed, although he is troubled with an injury to his left knee, Pagan is in on the grass at third base. Buford swings, pulls it under the glove of Cannon. Belanger on his way around second, now stopped in deference to somebody by the name of Roberto Clemente. The ball gets away from Pagan. Belanger might have made it to third base, but against Clemente, that great arm of perhaps all time for right fielder, Belanger held up, and Merv Retman, a 318 hitter, comes up. Bounced to Hernandez at shortstop. And now Ellis in a little bit of trouble. And now the Pittsburgh bullpen begins to serve. Belanger at second. Buford at first. 3-1 the score. Van Gien cuts with Ellis. Now cuts back behind the plate. Retman, 0-1, steps in. Bob Moose up and throwing. Right-hander for the Bucco. Ellis looks back at second. Goes to Retman outside and low, and he picks it out of the dirt. It's ball 1. George Stoller hollering in to Retman from his first base coaching box, and now Retman does what Stoller wants, and that is request the ball from Ellis. Shylock gives Ellis a new baseball and throws the other one out. George Stoller must have spotted something when Van Gien threw the ball back to Ellis, and Retman requested. Throws, it pushes outside. It's 2-0. On deck is Big Boog Powell. Well, Bob and I were talking before the game yesterday, saying no matter who wins, who loses, 4 games, 7 games, this should be a super series. It's got everything. Curveball drops across the plate. Retman wasn't looking for the breaking pitch there, and it's 2-1. 3-1 the Pirates. The tying run for the Orioles are on base. With 1 out. Ellis ready, throws another breaking pitch. Line drive, deep left field. Santo goes back, looking up. It is gone. Baltimore 6 to lead. 4-3. 4 20-game winners. The Pirates, a little bit hurt in their starting staff, but perhaps with the best bullpen in the National League. Breaking pitch drops over, and it's 1-1 to Boog Powell, the big left-handed batter. They have the shift on again with Hernandez on the first base side of second and on the grass behind second. Gash and Robertson pulled toward the right field line. 1-1. Low for the fastball. That is Reckman's second series home run. He hit one in the final game last year against Tony Cloninger, the Reds. 2 balls, 1 strike for Boog Powell. There'll be a lot of dramatic turnarounds before this series is over, and that's the first. Fastball fouled away to the left. It's still 2-2 to Powell. And the fan who makes the catch even gets a hand. Baltimore's crowd very low audibly for the first couple of innings has come alive as their Orioles have taken a 4-3 lead. Lines in center field is very deep. Ball is fouled deep and left upstairs on the left field line. Powell has tremendous power to the other field, of course, but Boog is primarily a pull hitter. He hit 2 home runs here last Monday against Oakland. 2-2 pitch. Breaking pitch. Took something off of it, bounces in the dirt, and the batting box where Powell was staying, and it is now 3-2 with 1 out. Well, McNally, who gave up those 3 runs on a couple of errors and a walk, now finds himself out in front. Low and inside, and here's the first walk given up by Ellis. And that will bring up Frank Robinson, who homered on a hanging curveball, and that will bring out of the dugout Bill Burton. Right-hand man for Danny Murtaugh. He's already looking down to the Pirates bullpen. And this could be all. That's it. They're calling apparently for Bob Booth down to the Bucko bullpen. And Doc Ellis, the 19-game winner, bothered with those elbow problems, has already started to leave the mound. And the fans are giving him the raspberry as well as waving the handkerchief, which is a custom in Baltimore. But Ellis is not waiting around for the other pitcher to come in. He's getting out of there and getting out in a hurry. He's almost to the dugout right now. Having in 2 1/3 innings given up 4 earned runs, responsible for Powell on at first base, 4 hits, struck out 1, and walked 1. Van Guillen standing with Burton at the mound. Cash, Hernandez, and Pagan having their own little conference. Over near the shortstop position on the grass, Bob Robertson standing by himself, and George Stoller talking to the base runner, Boog Powell on at first. One into this inning, 3-1, Pittsburgh. Now it is 4-3 Baltimore. 1 out, Powell at first. And Danny Murtaugh is looking for help. They have a little jitney-type bus I just noticed off. First time I've seen it. It's got a big cap on top of it with a big P for Pittsburgh. And their colors are their traveling uniform. And now, here comes the new Bucko pitcher.
Bob Moose coming in is 11-7 on the year. He's a good right-hand pitcher, a good sinker ball pitcher. Occasionally will work a knuckleball. He's been plagued with arm miseries, but from the standpoint of competitive instinct, he's a real killer out on the mound. Chicago Cubs, Ron Santo basically pictures Moose as a fellow that short arms you. You'll watch when he warms up, and when he pitches, you never get a good look at the ball. He just never shows it to you. He hides the ball in the crook of his right knee, and you never see it until he delivers. He's just 24 years old, and that's today. Born in Export, Pennsylvania, which is really about 15 miles from Forbes Field, really, where they used to play. Of course, they now play at Three River Stadium. He won 11, he lost 7, was used as a starter for quite a while, then came up with a bad arm. But he's a very difficult man to pick up normally, and as I said, Jim has an excellent sinker. And before we get back to the action, we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Bob Prince, Jim Simpson back at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. We are still in the last of the third. Frank Robinson will face Bob Moose. Robinson hit that hanging curve from Doc Ellis back in the second, and it is 7th series home run. Moose throws, and Robinson goes around trying to check his swing. It's strike one. Looked like the sinker. It's strike one to Robinson. 4-3 the score. Baltimore leads Pittsburgh with a run on Robinson's homer in the second, and 3 runs here, all scoring on Bretman's homer in the third. Pittsburgh got its 3 runs, mostly on errors. Ball bounces in front of Sanguian, and he keeps it in front of him down the first base line. No advance by Boog Powell, who is not known around the American or the National League for great speed. Matter of fact, in checking the statistics, slightly surprised to find that Boog has stolen a base this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mammoth, great first baseman, fine fielding first baseman. I think Bob said he's underrated. Indeed he is, with a lot of power. Robinson swings and misses a good fastball. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bob Moose, the second pitcher. They play Robbie, of course, to pull. Hernandez over near the hole at shortstop. Although Pagan is well off the line at third base. 1 ball, 2 strikes, throws him a breaking pitch, and this time Robinson strikes out. Frank Robinson goes down swinging, and that brings up Ellie Hendricks, who grounded a cash back in the second inning. Now they're 2 out with Powell at first. Moose, like Ellis, a right-hander. Hendricks, a big, likable catcher who swings a very heavy bat, something like 40 ounces or more. Of the Mexican League in home runs years back. This one bounces in front, Sanguian can't find it, and down to second base goes Powell. Ball bounced 4 or 5 feet in front of home plate, off Sanguian, around the umpire Shylock, and we have our second pitch of the second wild pitch of the ball game. One ball, no strikes to Ellie Hendricks. He's one of those ball players that plays ball all year long. Once this is over, he'll be heading for some winter league. Born and raised, a place a lot of people like to visit. St. Thomas and the Virgin Islands. Bill calls that home. Moose now ready after the wild pitch. Back throws a fastball right down the middle. Hendricks is leaning in and over it, but it's strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Belanger led off with a first pitch single. McNally struck out trying to bunt. Buford pulled a single to right field, and Redmond followed with a home run to left center into the Baltimore bullpen. And it's 4-3, Baltimore. One pitch. Moose throws too low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Hendricks, who is the pull hitter. Hernandez is right behind second base. The shortstop has moved over behind second base. All teams use scouting reports all year, but nothing like the World Series. They have been looking at each other for about a month. Pitch is up high, and it's 3-1. Hendricks glances down to Billy Hunter, third base coach. Hendricks had a home run in the American League Championship playoffs. Crowd ready, 3-1. He swings on the 3-1 pitch. It was a breaking pitch. Misses, it's 3-2. Only one of the last 17 champions has been able to repeat in the World Series. That was the 1961 Yankee team that came back to win it in 1962. The Orioles are embarking now on what they hope will be a successful defense. Pittsburgh doesn't think they'll do it. Baltimore slightly favored. Back with the 3-2 pitch, drive, right field. Over comes Clemente to his right, and back picks up one hand and takes it. Roberto looks as though he might have misjudged it. Came in, and then the wind carried it back. Long drive, but it's an out. So a 3-run score on 3 base hits, including the home run by Retman. 1 man left. There were no errors. We've gone 3 complete innings. And it's Baltimore 4, Pittsburgh 3.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola. When Owens, Illinois asked me to do some commercials for corrugated packaging, I asked them, well, what's so special about an ordinary box? And boy, did I get an earful about how corrugated boxes have to do special things like absorb shocks, shed moisture, insulate, display, or whatever the product inside calls for. In fact, every box is something special at Owens, Illinois, with 20 plants producing the best in corrugated packaging coast to coast. Look them up in the yellow pages.
No matter what you're doing, there's another thing to do.
Bowling, it's for everybody. It's easy, it's inexpensive, it's great fun, and it's wonderful exercise.
Bowling is for everybody.
Join the fun. Go bowling. There's no better way to unwind. Remember, there's more room to spare on weekends and daytimes during the week.
Bowling is for everybody.
National Bowling Council, Washington, D.C.
Well, the Baltimore Oriole power has come to the life now and to the fore, and they're leading here by a score of 4-3. Ellis is out now in 2 1/3 innings, a complete log of 4 runs, as Jim Simpson told you. McNally, given new life, surrendered 3 runs, but really not charged to him as Hernandez goes to bat, and here's Jim Simpson.
All right, Bob, Hernandez tried to sacrifice, and that started one of the series of misplays by the Orioles back in the second inning and allowed another run in. McNally picked it up and threw home, and Hendricks let it get through his legs, and the runner scored from third base. Strike one to Hernandez. McNally right back, foiled out a play off to the right, will make the seats as everybody over there stands up trying to catch it, and it's 2 strikes to Hernandez. On deck is Bob Moose. Average at game time was 62. Feels as though it's warmed up a little bit since then. It was supposed to get at least into the 70s. Tomorrow we've got that 80% chance of rain. Later today we found out that there was an 80% chance of occasional rain tomorrow. We hope that is correct. Back with the 2-strike pitch. Fastball outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Hernandez. 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 costly errors for Baltimore. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Pirates. Baltimore has 2 home runs. Nally throws, foul back. 1-2. Despite the fact that Stargell led the major leagues in home runs, despite the fact that the Pittsburgh Pirates, for only the second time in their history, led the National League in home runs, the Baltimore Orioles played 3 fewer games than the Pirates and out-homered the Pirates. 1 ball, 2 strikes. But Pittsburgh, as a team batting average, by far and away, hits a lot more than did the Orioles. Next pitch for McNally's up high. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. 274 the team batting average for the talented Buccos. 261 for the Orioles. 2-2 the count. Leadoff batter, 4th inning, and Hernandez strikes out swinging. Well, the records show at least that McNally doesn't strike out too many, but he struck out 5 already. A high mark all in 1971 for McNally was 7. He has 5 through 3 1/3 innings. Here is Bob Booth, up for the first time. Ball 1. Moose, a 103 hitter, had 4 hits and 39 times at bat during the regular season. Nally ready, throws another fastball, fouled off, upstairs to the right. 1 ball, 1 strike. On deck is Dave Cash. Playing Moose to hit to the opposite field. Another fastball, foul back to the screen and right up under us. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Bob Prince was talking to Sandy Koufax before the game began. You probably heard that Pittsburgh is primarily a right field hitting ball club. Brooks Robinson may not get the chance to star in this series. There's a strike right down the middle, and Moose takes it. Well, there is strikeout number 6. McNally is going against the Pirate team that will strike out 8 or 9 times, free swingers as they are. Here's Cash, who is lined out and singled to center field. 4-3 to score. 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for Baltimore. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Pirates. And we've got 2 outs in the top of the 4th. Cash looks as though he's going to bunt, but just watch the pitch into the glove of Hendricks, and it's outside, ball 1. Brooks Robinson playing in back of the bag at third base. Cash has fine speed. They're playing Dave to hit the right also, and there's a slider over for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. First game of the 1971 World Series. Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. McNally, the pitcher, throwing inside to Cash, who raises the bat, get out of the way, and backs off. The count of 2 balls, 1 strike. 2-1 pitch, fastball, fouled, and toward the Baltimore dugout, which is behind third base. Visitors, the Pirates, over behind first base. Baltimore twice. World champions, 1966, when they took the Dodgers in that 4-in-a-row sweep. 1969, they had a shot at it, but lost to the New York Mets. Last year, they won it over Cincinnati. McNally ready, 2-2. Drive to right field. Robinson coming in and takes the line drive, and there's 3 out. No runs, hits or errors. The Pirates go down in order in the top of the 4th. At the end of 3 1/2, Baltimore 4, Pittsburgh 3.
The Brothers El Marco. 2 new kinds of markers for 2 kinds of marking. El Marco with permanent ink marks most anything with waterproof, smear-proof colors. And new El Marco with watercolor ink creates and decorates with bold, vibrant colors. Watercolors that won't bleed through paper. The Brothers El Marco. Both with strong bonded tips. Both with quick seal caps that prevent dryout. The Brothers El Marco by Player.
This is Kyle Rowe. With some more baseball fans getting their first look at a revolutionary new 2-bladed razor from Gillette. The new Gillette Track 2 twin-blade shaving system.
I think it's a bit of a unique idea. I've never heard of anything like it. You make it less cuts with 2 blades instead of having to press to get at the hairs that you miss on your face. It's probably give you a better shave than razor with 1 blade. Well, I think it will be great. I have to try something with a double blade.
The new Gillette Track 2 razor. It's 1 blade better than whatever you're using now.
I say anything put out by Gillette, I would try.
Back here at Memorial Stadium, Brooks Robinson will be the leadoff batter, and as of this moment, he has not had an opportunity to show his fielding prowess down around third. Baltimore on top 4-3, and here's Jim Simpson.
All right, Bob, Brooks Robinson hit the first pitch and tried to climb in fairly deep left center field. He's only over the top at bat on the second. Bob Moose the pitcher this time, breaking pitch. Moose leaps high at the mound, grabs him, has plenty of time to throw out Brooks. And twice, Robinson has swung at the first pitch, and twice he has gone down. Here's Dave Johnson. He's done a little soft line drive right back to the pitcher of that moment, Doc Ellis, to end the second inning. Johnson, perhaps the most unsung member of that great Baltimore infield. Brooks Robinson, you know about over at third base. Moose's pitch is the fastball low, ball 1. Boog Powell hits all those home runs and drives all those runs in over at first base. Belanger's a Golden Glover as a shortstop. Johnson does nothing but keep improving his hitting and fielding every year. Drive right field, kind of high, from any toss over to his right, taps his glove and takes it for the second out. Johnson hitting .282 last year, .281, the year before that, .280. Bob Moose is throughout Brooks Robinson. Fine fielding pitcher for the Pirates. Here's Mark Belanger, single on the first pitch up the middle, and later scored ahead of Letman's 3-run homer. 4-3 Baltimore. The Orioles have hit 2 home runs, one by Frank Robinson, the other a 3-run homer by Merv Retman. Doc Ellis, the 19-game winner, has departed. Bob Moose is in and throwing on the outside to Belanger. It's ball 1. Pagan again in on the grass. Well, Belanger now begins to back up a step or so at third base. Moose ready, throws too high. It's 2-0 to Mark Belanger. Belanger out of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, won the Golden Glove a couple of years ago. It's ball 3 now for Moose. Mark last year hit .218. This year hit .266. His all-time high, major or minors, was .287 in the year of the Mets, 1969. Moose behind 3-0 will aim this pitch, and it's right down the middle. 3 balls, 1 strike to Belanger with McNally with a jacket on deck. completed by a run. Pittsburgh would like to get out of here this weekend, at least with an even split on the road, and go home. Drive, right field, may drop in. On comes Clemente, tries for the catch. It bounces away from him. Times is backing him up. So Belanger will go around second on his way to third. Here comes the rifle arm throw. Clemente is off the mark, and he's in. A triple. Clemente tried for a diving catch. Lyons, with that great speed, had come over to back him up in case it'd get by him, but instead of getting by him, it bounced back towards center field. And Belanger is in with a triple. First hit off Bob Moose. And here's McNally, a pretty good hitting pitcher. Last time he bunted for strike three, missing the pitch altogether back in the third inning. But a pretty good hitting pitcher. He went for a catch. If you remember that 1969 series, the time that Ron Swoboda of the Mets pulled off with a dive to his right, but did not get it. Moose is having a little trouble, and I can't see that closely from here, but looks like with the bees. There have been bees around the Memorial Stadium in Baltimore all throughout the last part of the season. Breaking pitch to McNally, he swings and misses, strike one. As a matter of fact, in the Vita Blue, Dave McNally's first game in the American League Championship last Sunday, the bees were around Boog Powell, and Hank Shore, the American League umpire, took off his chest protector and tried to swat it while it was on Powell's back. Moose back, and a strike two took something off that pitch, and McNally was way out in front of it. Belanger at third, 2 outs, 4-3, Baltimore, last of the fourth inning. And they count 2 strikes to Dave McNally. Staring in, glances at Belanger, now comes back and throws a breaking pitch outside. It misses, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Packed house here in Baltimore, much more than 50,000. Moose ready and throws the breaking pitch, and McNally goes around striking out. Ball was on the outside corner, so no runs. 1 hit, the triple by Belanger of Clemente. No errors, and Belanger left at third base. We've now gone 4 innings. Baltimore 4, Pittsburgh 3.
Hello, I'm Johnny Kay. Coming through for Chrysler Plymouth. Here's a song that tells you something about a little car for you. Plymouth Cricket coming through. If you're looking for a little car that's a lot of fun and a little bigger than many other little cars, look at the 1972 Plymouth Cricket. You want a car that's built to last and it's still good looking too. Chrysler Plymouth knows you want your car that way. From the inside to the outside, it's a car that's here to stay. That's the kind of car that's coming through today. Chrysler Plymouth coming through.
With Jim Simpson, Bob Brent here from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. McNally on the mound, by the way, now is going for another high. He had only 1 6-strikeout game in his first start against Washington, and it was his first win. His high is 7 against New York when he won number 20. So he goes here now in the 5th, and here's Jim Simpson.
McNally owning 6 strikeouts will face Gene Klein to slide out and reach on the 4th play and take strike 1. Nestor Shylock, the plate umpire. Ed Tudor at first, John Rice down at second, Ed Barber at third. Along the left field line, Jim Odom. Umpiring right is John Kibler. Nally, the left-hander, the throw, the bouncing ball, chance for Robinson, picks it up with the knee top, has plenty of time, throws him out. Robinson going to his left. Got the speedy Gene Klein. Anytime that Klein hits the ball on the ground to anybody, he's got a great chance to beat it out. Such is his speed. Here's Roberto Clemente, who has doubled to right and reached across the plate and punched a single to center, picking on an outside curveball. 2 for 2. 4-3 the score. The Orioles are on the top of the 5th inning. McNally lasted through a 3-run second, in which, believe it or not, if you're just joining us, there was a walk, a wild pitch, and 2 errors, and 1 base hit for the 3 runs. Errors accounted for 2 runs, base hit drove into third. McNally ready to throw to Clemente, swings at a low pitch around the shoe top, then it's strike 1. Willie Stargell is on deck. McNally ready to throw again, high off the glove of Hendricks, who picks it up, tosses it back to McNally. People like Clemente, Stargell, Robertson, even Sanguy, and 1 swing of the bat, and we got a tie ball game all over again. 1 ball, 1 strike. McNally throws, and it's to right field, fairly deep, but Robinson only moves a couple of steps to his left near the warning track now and puts it away for the second out. Clemente often hits to right field. And that's the first time McNally has gotten him out in this ball game. Now Willie Stargell. 0 for 15 in postseason play. And missed the first World Series game. He struck out, swinging at a 3-2 fastball in the first, and walked on a 3-2 fastball that missed the strike zone in the third. McNally ready to throw to him, high and tight. It's ball 1. Stargell never got a hit in those National League championships in which the Pirates took the Giants 3 games to 1. They're ready again. He moves it outside this time. Belanger pulled over by second base. The shortstop makes the throw, and McNally has his easiest inning. A run, hits or errors. They got Klein, Clemente, and Stargell. We go to the last of the 5th. Baltimore 4, Pittsburgh 3.
Good wages and good working conditions are a major objective of the Retail Clerks International Association. But as one of America's foremost trade unions, it assumes a further responsibility, a commitment to the support of democratic processes in government. Good government depends on citizens who care enough to use their right to vote. Be sure and register to vote. This message from the Retail Store Employees Union in your community, chartered by the Retail Clerks International Association, Washington, D.C., 20006.
Andy, look at all the new cars.
Yes, Dolly, new cars always come out in fall.
I sure hope all the new car buyers know that when a car is new, it's the best time to start using STP oil treatment.
Right, Dolly. STP helps the car break in better by protecting engine parts better than ordinary motor oil alone. Keeps cars running smoother, quieter, and above all, longer.
We should tell car buyers that, Andy.
I think we just did, Dolly. I think we just did.
Then Simpson in Baltimore, where we go to the last of the 5th inning. It'll be Buford, Retman, and Powell. It's a 4-3 ball game. The Orioles lead the Pirates, who's under their second pitcher in Bob Moose, who's now ready to throw to Buford. And ready to bring you the play-by-play for the rest of the way, the voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates for more than 20 years, Bob Sprint.
Thank you very much, Jim Simpson. And here's Don Buford. He singled in the 3rd inning to keep alive a rally, and then Retman popped the 3-runner out of here, and the Orioles took the lead. Moose works to the left-hand batter, hits a drive deep to right field. It's going way back, and it's a home run. Swung on the first pitch and drove it deep to right, just past the 360 mark. And it was a line drive homer, his first of the series, and the 3rd home run for Baltimore. And they now lead 5-3. The batter will be Merv Retman, who bounced out to short on a great play by Hernandez in the 1st inning, hit a 3-run homer in the 3rd. Moose is low on a sinking pitch, ball 1. 1 ball and no strike to the right-hand batter. The Pirates play the outfield straight away to him. He started off on a pitch to the inside corner for a called strike, 1-1. The outfield is straight out. Stargell, Kleins, and Clemente. Doc Ellis is out of the ball game. He's on the hook for it. Now the 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Retman takes a pitch to the inside corner for a called strike, 2. He was locked up on that one as Moose fed him a little bit of a straight change. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 3 home runs now for the Orioles. Frank Robinson, Merv Retmond, and Buford. 1-2 pitch to Merv. A swing and a miss. He got him on what appeared to be a knuckleball. That is the 4th strikeout and the 3rd for Bobby Moose. And now here's Boog Powell. Bounced out to short and walked. Buford's home run, by the way, his 3rd World Series home run. He hit one in his first at bat in 1969, then hit another one in 1970. Boog Powell. Infield shift is on. Hernandez, Cash, and Robertson. Started for a sinking delivery, took it low. It's 309 down both lines, then falls away to 380. 360, 380 in the slots, and then 410 straight out. A little more opportunity to retire batters on foul pops here. Fastball by Moose under the right fist for the ball. 2-0. Baltimore leading 5-3. Have 6 base hits in the ball game. Pirates' runs are all unearned against McNally as a leaky defense. Very uncommon for Baltimore. Cost them 3 runs early. There's a high pop off the left side. Going for it, Sanguillen and Pagan. Pagan in foul territory. Now drifts back in fair territory as the wind drifted it over that way and retires Boog Powell. 2 down in the Baltimore 5th, and they lead 5-3. Frank Robinson, the batter, hit a booming home run in the 2nd inning. Then struck out against Moose when Bob came in to pitch in the 3rd, relieving Doc Ellis. Pirates jumped in front with 3 runs in the 2nd inning. All, as we said, unearned. Robinson brought one of them back with a home run. And then Retmond, a 3-run homer in the 3rd, and now Buford here in the 5th. Robinson cutting the plate, takes it blown away. Foul 1. When he was in the National League, you could hit him a lot of times with strikes right on that left arm. He used to get hit all the time while playing with Cincinnati. 1-0 pitch, fastball low and away, and it's ball 2, 2-0. Baltimore 5, and the Pirates 3 here with 2 down and none on in the Baltimore 5th. Outfield swung deep to the left, and Hernandez shades the hole at short back on the grass. 2-0 pitch in there as the fastball backed up, and it's 2-1. On deck, Ellie Hendricks. Lights have been on since the start of the game. In fact, quite a bit before. Overcast, but no threat of rain in the immediate future. 2 balls and a strike. Moose on the 2-1 pitch comes back with a breaking ball, and Robinson doesn't get it. 2-2. Plate umpire and a dandy one is Nestor Shylock. Ed Sudol at first, John Rice at second, John Kibler at 3rd, Jim Odom the foul line in left, John Kibler the foul line in right. Now the 2-2 pitch, and he took a sinker low. Ball 3, strike 2. Batter, Frankie Robinson. Bat held perpendicular to the ground. A 3-2 delivery. A swing and a miss. He struck him out on an off-speed pitch. That is the 5th strikeout, the 4th for Bob Moose. So for the Orioles in the 5th inning. A run on the homer by Don Buford. The 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. At the end of 5, Baltimore leading 5-3.
You know, when most good hitters connect with the ball, they can tell right away whether it's going for the distance or popping up. They can feel the difference in their hands. And most men can feel the difference on their face when they shave. They can feel a smoother shave. And with Gillette Platinum Plus Sage, you'll really feel the difference. Because Gillette Platinum Plus has the edge, a platinum smooth edge that gives you a close, smooth, more comfortable shave. So if you're not using them, try them. You'll feel the difference with Gillette Platinum Plus Blade. The Super Heroes! Brought to you by Right Guard Antiperspirant. Super Dry Aerosol. Today's superhero, Queena of the Jungle.
Don't look now, Jimbo, but we're surrounded by a pack of killer chimpanzees. Pass me the Right Guard Antiperspirant. Right Guard Super Dry is one all those superheroes use because we're so active.
Oh, here they come. Oh, looks like we're really in for it this time, Jimbo. What do you mean, we?
We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
This is KGW.
Right now, I'd like to talk to a special group of guys who sell Anco Rainmaster windshield wipers. Fellas, your customers will appreciate it if you check their wiper blades when you wipe off their windshield. Just ask them if the blades have been streaking. You know it's going to be a lot safer with a new pair of Anco blades. We're telling him to look for your big yellow Anco wiper cabinet. You do the rest while you fill his tank with gas. Anco, the real rubber wiper blade by Anderson.
Hello again from Baltimore. Jim Simpson along with Bob Prince. The Orioles have 3 home runs. The Pirates have taken advantage of 2 Oriole errors. And as we go to the top of the 6th inning, Robertson, Sanguine, and Pagan, here's Bob Prince with the score 5-3 Baltimore.
McNally working now to Robertson. A swing and a miss. Strike 1. Off-speed curveball. McNally, after a very rocky second inning in which he walked Robertson, who later came around to score following a wild pitch and a fielder's choice and an error, settled down and now has retired 9 Pirates in order. Robertson striking out in the 3rd inning. 0-1 here, the Maryland strong boy. And there's a chopper hit foul at 3rd. Eddie Vargo right on the line. Fine fielding play by Brooks Robinson. Eddie Vargo making the call down there at 3rd. Right smack dab on the line. So it's 0-2. Bobby Robertson underwent kidney surgery a couple of years ago for a blockage of the kidney and missed an entire season. But he is extremely strong, and they refer to him as a fellow able to hit the ball out of any park, including Yellowstone. And he can pop them. But they're working now off-speed pitches to him, and particularly down through the year of 1971, left-handers had more success against Robertson than did right-handers. The outfield around to the left, very much so to him, and the 0-2 pitch from McNally. The left-hander pours a fastball outside and wasting it a ball and 2 strikes. It'll be Robertson, Sanguine, and Pagan. Baltimore here in the 6th inning leading 5-3. McNally with a semi-wind-up delivery and the 1-2 pitch. And Robertson goes down swinging, and that's number 7. That equals his high. He had 1 7-game strikeout against New York when he won his 20th ball game. That's 10 in a row now, set down by McNally. Pitching assignment, manager Earl Weaver says he'll go with Palmer tomorrow, and Bob Johnson, former Kansas City pitcher, who pitched a magnificent game against the Giants in the championship series, will be his opponent. Then in Pittsburgh, it'll be Blast and Cuellar. There's a strike to Sanguine, and certainly McNally now seems to have settled down and found his niche. Doesn't have, as you heard earlier, perhaps with Sandy Koufax, the overpowering fastball. Knocks Sanguine back off the plate with a fastball under the chin, 1-1. Baltimore, 5 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors. The Pirates 3 on 3. All 3 Pirate runs unearned. Baltimore runs just came around in clusters as the balls left the park in a sudden hurry. There's a ball hit straight out into left center. Rettman running very hard. He'll get it. Now that's 11 in order. And here will be Jose Pagan, who went out on a 1-3 play in which he popped the ball up, bouncing it off the plate, really, and now they had to wait for it to come down. That actually set up a run for the Pirates as it moved the runner up where he could score later on. But Pagan is 0 for 2. He had his arm broken, pitches outside while in Montreal, and that brought about a blessing in disguise, a great break, and no pun intended for the Pirates. They had to bring up Rennie Stennett, and with Pagan injured, they would have sent him on down, Stennett back on down. Here's the 1-0, and it's in there. But when Pagan had his arm broken, then they kept Rennie Stennett, and he batted safely in 18 games and hit over 400, and that's when the Buccos made their big surge. 1 ball, 1 strike. And it's a chopper to 3rd, and Robinson on a bad hop comes up nicely, throws across, and that'll do it. So far, the Pirates in the 6th inning. McNally sends them up and down in order, 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Baltimore 5 and the Pirates 3.
When you watch the World Series, you know you're watching the 2 best teams in baseball. What separates them from other teams? Well, some teams are noted for their hitting, others for their pitching, others for their fielding. But the teams that make it to the series are the ones that put all 3 together. And it's the same way with gasoline. Some are noted for quick start, others for good mileage.
and others for cleansing action. But the one that really stands out is the one that gives you all three: quick start, good mileage, and cleansing action. And that's just what you get at Phillips 66. Great all-around performance in our gasoline. We call them Phillips 3-for-the-money performance gasoline because they give you quick start, good mileage, and cleansing action. Now, whether you're talking baseball or gasoline, pick the one that does everything well. And in gasolines, that's Phillips 66. At Phillips 66, it's performance that counts. Well, Bob mentioned that tomorrow Jim Palmer, another one of those 4 20-game winners, will be going for the Baltimore Orioles. Unlike Dave McNally, Palmer's a right-hander, and most will tell you that Palmer perhaps has the best stuff on the Baltimore staff. As for Johnson, who had that great game against the Giants in the National League Championships when Nellie Blyles could not make the start. As for Johnson, who had that great game against the Giants in the National League Championships when Nellie Blyles could not make the start, he was with Kansas City last year and faced Orioles twice. In one appearance, he tossed 1 hit ball for 7 innings in relief, and in 9 innings as a starter, gave up 1 run. So that's tomorrow's starters, but the score today is 5-3 Baltimore, last of the 6th. Bob?
Ellie Hendricks, who is 0 for 2, grounded to second and lined out to Roberto Clemente. And the Buccos practically infield shift on him. They have Hernandez riding right in behind second base. So they respect his power, although he has only hit 9 home runs on the year. It's unusual to see a fellow played that way with only 9 homers, a ball 2, but it's obvious that the Pirates scouting report is that he's a dead pull hitter. Buccos earlier had Bob Miller loosening in the bullpen, as Moose is the scheduled second batter in the next inning. 2 balls and no strikes to Hendricks. Semi-closed stance, Moose into the windup. The right-hander comes in with a fastball, backed it up right over the inside corner of the plate. Ellie Hendricks was platoon basically throughout the season with Andy Etchebarren, who also had a great year. So the Orioles are blessed with good catching. There's a ball hit up the middle, and Hernandez right there perfectly positioned to close him out. The play went 6-3, short to first, but Hernandez was actually on the first base side of second. All the scouting reports in the world avail you nothing unless you pitch the man the way he's supposed to hit. Here's Brooks Robinson, has now had 2 chances to display his artistry at third in this game thus far. Brooks flied to center, went out, pitched to first, and both on first pitches. Moose hiding that ball behind the crook of the right knee. Right-hander sends a fastball dipping low, ball 1. Brooks played a little bit to the left. If the gap is anywhere, it'll be in right center, although Clemente gives him better than 90 feet of the right field line. 1 ball and no strike pitch to Brooks, and he started to go on a sliding pitch, took it outside, ball 2. Baltimore leading 5 runs on 6 hits. The Pirates 3 on 3, and we're in the bottom half of the 6th, 1 out and none on. Stargell, Klein, Clemente the outfield. Pagan, Hernandez, Cash, and Robertson the infield. 2-0 to Brooks is in there for a called strike, and it's 2-1. The on-deck batter, Davy Johnson. The game has been highlighted by 3 booming home runs by Frank Robinson, Merv Rettenmund, and Don Buford. Brooks started to go, took it outside, ball 3, 3-1. And as Jim Simpson mentioned a little earlier, an uncommon bit of erratic defensive play in the second inning allowed 3 Pirate runs to get in, and they had the lead of 3-0 until Frank homered in the Robinson, that is, in the second, Retman in the third, Buford in the 5th. There's a base hit up the middle, and Robinson took it right off the end of the bat into center field. Bobbled by Gene Klein, now overruns the ball, but Brooks Robinson, respecting his ability to throw the ball, started up the second base, came back. Well, that is the 7th hit. And that'll bring up Dave Johnson. Bobby Moose now has surrendered 3 base hits, a triple, a home run, and a single. And Dave Johnson, a very underrated ball player in the minds of many, but he has 18 home runs, and he is a very fine fielder. Earlier in the spring, when the Baltimore and the Pirates met, Davey was seen to hang around Bill Mazeroski. Quick throw to first, back in the nest is Brooks Robinson. But Mazeroski, of course, quick to impart any knowledge he has to anybody who will ask. Here's a high fly to left field. Stargell drifting way back. That ball has a chance. Stargell at the wall and leaps up and one-hands it. And comes
Coming back into first base is Brooks Robinson. Dave Johnson took Stargell and put number 8 right on the wall. A drive of about 310 feet. That ball's in play if it hits the net territory between the 360 mark and down the left field line, which is 309. There was no threat there, particularly of a home run, once we saw where it was going. The question was whether Stargell would grab it, and he did. Leaping high to do it. Now Mark Belanger, 2 for 2 with a single in the third, scored a run, tripled, and remained at third in the fourth. Tried to check his swing. He must have. Ball 1. Bob Moose in relief of starting pitcher Doc Ellis, who went 2 1/3 for 4 runs on 4 hits. Now Moose to the set, checks at first, delivers, and he comes right over the plate at the knees for a called strike, 1-1. Baltimore 5 and the Pirates 3 in Game 1 of the 1971 World Series. Here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And a quick throw to first. Moose has one of the better moves in baseball. He and Steve Blass for the Pirates perhaps have the 2 best moves. They can stick that ball over to first in a sudden hurry. There's a breaking pitch that just did nip the outside corner for the call strike, 1-2. I'm sure that the scouting reports on Moose and Blast have alerted the Baltimore runners when you're at first, don't get too far away from the nest when those 2 fellows are pitching. A ball and 2 strikes. Moose, an excellent all-around athlete. Quick throw to first and just back in there. Brooks Robinson almost caught him in the act of a walking lead. He has a quick way of switching his feet and throwing over there, and he throws low right at the bag. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Checks again at first, comes to the plate, and there's a hanger that's hit slowly off the fist down to Cash, and he'll throw on, and he get a sort of a squidging type of hop that time. The ball took English. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a man left. At the end of 6 innings of play, Baltimore 5 and the Pirates 3.
Why more than 830 men and women bowl in league play every week? It could be the lively competition to put your team on top. It could be having a congenial group to bowl with every week. It could be trying a little harder when your team needs that important mark. If you're a league bowler now, you know it's all this and more. If you're not a league bowler now, join up at your nearby bowling center. There's a league and a time for everybody. When you're in the league, bowling is a whole new game.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola. When I was catching and the pitcher got tired, the manager called for relief. And the same thing is true in business. When somebody is ill or on vacation and the work isn't getting done, you can call for relief from Manpower Temporary Help Services. Manpower's lineup covers almost every position, from stenos to stevedores. Next time you need temporary help, call Manpower. Manpower.
Jim Simpson with Bob Prince in Baltimore, 7th inning Hernandez, and then perhaps the pitcher, although no one has come into the on-deck circle yet. Here's Bob.
Right, Jim, and one thing that seems remarkable, Bill Mazeroski is now coming out, the hero of the 1960 World Series. Baltimore sure gets hung up on 5s. They just score 5s and then hang on. And Hernandez, who is 0 for 2, but got aboard on a fielder's choice and went to second on an error, came around later to score. Ball 1 to him. Bill Mazeroski, one of the greatest fielding second basemen of all time, will be the on-deck batter. Bouncer wide at third. Over goes Brooks Robinson, throws him out. That's 13 in a row now for McNally. The Pirates' last base hit was a leadoff single by Clemente in the third. Then I walked to Stargell, and the Pirates had runners at first and second. And Jim Simpson, if McNally was to have caved, that was the spot right there, but he bore down with 2 strikeouts and a fly ball. So Billy Mazeroski stands in. It isn't often that you can go from a Cash to a Mazeroski. And he picked up a key base hit. Swing and a miss, strike 1. In the championship series, Maz batting at .254, 1 homer and 16 runs batted in. Has been used sparingly by the Pirates this year. The 0-1 from McNally and a swing and a miss off the changeup. Bob Miller is loosening, a former Dodger, former most everybody, for the Pirates in the bullpen. Last port of call, San Diego, before coming to Pittsburgh. The 0-2 pitch is a wasted delivery outside a ball. McNally, ball 1 and strike 2 to Bill Mazeroski. The 1-2 pitch, and there's the ball hit deep toward left. Running for it is Buford, and back, and now has to backpedal quickly. That ball appeared to jump on him a little bit. He went over there rather lazily looking, and then all of a sudden he started to put on some steam. So now, 2 down. And that is 14 in a row for McNally. And the batter will be the leadoff batter, Cash, who singled in the second inning to drive in a run. So Dave Cash, 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Baltimore leading 5-3 here in the top half of the 7th inning with 2 down and none on. Outfield plays Cash around to right. McNally's fastball grabs the inside corner for the called strike. The winds aloft are from left field across to right, and then you get down lower, and it looks like it's blowing from right across to left, so you get a little conflict there. Balls appear to be jumping pretty well here today, particularly in the power alley to left center. Nothing in 1 count, the pitch. And it's driven deep toward left. Running for it is Buford, and he's there for the out. So it's 3 up and 3 down for McNally. And we go now to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Baltimore leading the Pirates by the score of 5-3.
Here's a song that tells you something about a car that's built for you. Brand new Chrysler, coming through. Hi there, this is Sarah Vaughn coming through for Chrysler Plymouth. Did you know 9 out of 10 new Chryslers registered in the last 10 years are still on the road today? Now that should tell you something about how they built the 1972 Chrysler. It's built to last, and I dig it. You want a car that's built to last, and it's still good looking too. Chrysler knows you want a car that's built that way. From the inside to the outside, it's a car that's here to stay. That's the kind of car that's coming through today.
Along with Bob Prince, Jim Simpson back in Baltimore, where the Orioles lead the Buccos of Pittsburgh by the score of 5-3. Bob Moose, batted for by Bill Mazeroski, worked 4 2/3 innings, gave up 1 run. That was on the home run in the 5th inning to Dom Buford. 3 hits, struck out 4, and walked nobody. And now coming on is the 3rd consecutive right-hander that Danny Murtaugh has sent in. This is Bob Miller. And as Bob also said, Bob Miller has been around. Most recently with San Diego, Dodgers, actually started a playoff championship game with the Minnesota Twins a couple of years back. And Miller has been in 1 game of the Pittsburgh Pirates playoffs with the San Francisco Giants for the league championship. In that game, he worked 3 innings and gave up 2 earned runs, a home run, 3 hits, and walked 3 and struck out 3 for an earned run average in the championship of 6. But Miller with the Pirates 1-2 on the year, but 1.29 was his earned run average and 3 saves. Overall total in the National League 8-5 on the year with an earned run average of Feynman of 1.64. So started out with 19-game winner Ellis. It went to Bob Moose, who was batted for. Now Bob Miller will face Dave McNally, who got off to a rough start but has since settled down. Bob?
Right, Jim Simpson, and McNally is 0 for 2 at the plate as a batter. He struck out twice. Bob Moose, 3 2/3 innings, 1 run. The home run by Buford. 3 hits, striking out 4, not walking anybody. On the hook is Ellis. And Miller starts him off with an overhand curveball. This is a young man that several years ago thought his pitching days were over. He underwent surgery on the arm. But he's actually went out and talked his way into being able to play for Buzzy Babese in San Diego. Sends a curve away. When he was released by the Chicago Cubs, he went right out and said, I like it here in San Diego. And Buzzy said, well, you go out and work out and see how it looks. And he worked out one time and says, you're my man. And he really did some great pitching for the Padres. Fastball right through there, 1-2. He's been around. He knows what it's like to be under the pressure and under the gun. Devotee of raising quarter horses, thoroughbreds. A ball and 2 strikes. Miller with 3 clubs in 1971. The 1-2 pitch is a breaking ball that McNally swung on. Would have been ball 2, and he couldn't hit that with a bed slat. So that's the 6th strikeout, and now here's Buford. 2 for 3. And as Jim Simpson reported earlier, he's probably the best leadoff batter in either league. Certainly hits for power with 19 homers in the regular season. He has a home run in this one. And he's 2 for 3, driving in 1 run and scoring another. Miller was with Chicago, as we told you, then San Diego, and then the Pirates. He's pitched in 2 previous series, 65-66 for the Dodgers. Foul down the left line, or is it going to be fair? Slicing down here, and it's going to be a foul ball by a Matt Rylash. That ball was slicing, having hit by a left-hand batter. Bob Beal is now up for the Pirates. 6'6". Beal has the unenviable problem of being 6-0 in regular season and the highest earned run average in baseball. It's just an unbelievable combination. Buford 0-1, and there's a pop foul that's going to come back to the left, running back to Sanguin. It'll be up into the seats over Commissioner Billy Coon's head. Well, one thing, Jim Simpson, NBC and all, have really grown from the early days of World Series broadcasting to a gigantic coverage now.
That's right, Bob. We were saying the World Series radio broadcast began 50 years ago with Grantland Rice at the microphone to a couple of stations in the East. And when they televised, NBC did the first World Series 25 years ago. They went to 4 stations, including Schenectady. Now they're seen television all over the world and are heard live all over the world on radio.
Don Buford, and the 0-2 pitch from Miller, and he's up there defensively now. He's swung and there's a one-handed stab over an NBC cameraman. It's unbelievable. He reached out there and grabbed that one. Some ballparks, they put up a sign him up. That was a very fine grab. Nothing in 2 to count to Buford. Bob Miller getting the sign now from Manny Sanguin. And the 0-2 pitch, a curve breaking it into the dirt for a ball. Miller in 3 previous series games pitched 4 1/3 innings, allowing no runs on 2 hits, and allowed only 1 home run in 99 innings this season. That was by Matty Alou back in the 15th of August, and it cost Bob Miller the game. Matty Alou stroking it for the St. Louis Cards. And he got into the book of a fellow by the name of Willie Mays in the playoffs a while back. But Willie put a lot of guys in the books. 2 balls, 2 strikes. As the score here, 5-3 Baltimore, 1 out and on in the 7th inning. And Buford, who stroked the homer, in there. 2-2 pitch, and it's pulled off a change down the first base side past George Stoller. There is a little more opportunity to retire a batter on a foul pop here than in many stadia because of the stretch back. And, of course, now they put some auxiliary box seats down on the field. It's taken away a little of the foul territory. But in a lot of ballparks, notably Wrigley Field and all, very little opportunity to retire a batter on a foul ball because of the jutting stands. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Buford. And he hits a looper out toward left, and Stodgel stands right there, and it's 2 down. Baltimore leading by the score of 5-3 as Merv Redmond stands in. Speaking of this broadcast going all over the world, I had the pleasure, Jim Simpson, of accompanying Merv Redmond and Ed Watt of the Baltimore Orioles, Mudcat Grin, and Willie Stodgel to Vietnam last year for some 20-odd days. Very fine young ball player and a very great all-around player, and I guess turned down a contract to play professional football from Muncie, Indiana. They're going to play the right-hand batter straight away. Now the delivery, and it's hit right back to Miller. He does an adagio dance, and Majinski comes down with it and throws him out. That was a fine fielding play by Bob Miller. So for the Orioles, they're stopped in 1-2-3 fashion for the first time since the first inning. At the end of 7, they lead 5-3.
Oh, Andy, you look so nice. Is that a new sweater?
Yes, just got it today, Dolly.
Very handsome, and just like STP, too.
How do you mean that, Dolly?
Well, your new sweater protects you from the cool fall weather, just like STP protects engine parts, better than ordinary motor oil alone.
You know, Dolly, that's exactly what the sweater salesman said.
Is that why you bought the sweater, Andy?
That's why I bought 2 sweaters, Dolly. Members of the Retail Clerk Unions vote by secret ballot to approve agreements with their employers. As union members, they have a voice in determining their conditions of employment. To every adult American, the right to vote is valuable because When you cast your secret ballot, you have a voice in determining the quality of the government of your country. Be sure and register to vote. This message from the Retail Store Employees Union in your community, chartered by the Retail Clerks International Association, Washington, D.C., 20006. Well, as we go to the eighth inning, Klein, Clemente, and Stargell, this is the inning that McNally wants to get by. And they've made some defensive changes, Baltimore has, and we'll get to those in a moment as we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
This is KGW, Portland. Does your wife drive your car? And are your wiper blades streaking and blurring? Think about it. Do you want to turn the car over to her and have her caught in bad weather with dangerous streakers? Play it cool. Get your blades replaced with a new pair of Anco Rainmaster blades with real rubber. They're in any service station where you see the big yellow Anco cabinet. Do it now. Get the new Anco Outlook. Do it for her. Anco by Anderson.
Stand by. Hello again from Baltimore. Jim Simpson with Bob Prince. Those defensive changes. Paul Blair, perhaps the best center fielder in the American League, the Golden Glove winner, moves into center field, and Merv Retman goes over to left, and Buford is out of the ballgame. Now McNally in the eighth inning faces Klein, Clemente, and Stargell. Here's Bob.
Kleins is 0 for 3. McNally has retired 15 batters in order. McNally's delivery, a swing and a miss. He tied him up on that one as he put it right in on his fist, strike one. You watch Gene Kleins, he's quite reminiscent of the batting stance of Henry Aaron, one of the great home run hitters and right-hand hitters in all of baseball, of course, with the Atlanta Braves. And he hits a high fly into left center, and Redmond drifting back with the ball, going back near the warning track, and has it. That's 16 in a row for McNally. The last base runner for Pittsburgh was Willie Stargell on a walk in the third inning following a leadoff single to Clemente. Then McNally, turning around and doing something he had not been known for doing all year long, started to get that strikeout pitch going, striking out Robertson and Sandiang and flying out down to left field. And since that time has come on to pick up 7 strikeouts, which matches his season high, which he set when he won his 20th victory. Here's Clemente, 2 for 3, a double, a single, and a fly ball to right. McNally works to him, and he sends him a soft curve for the call strike. Bobby probably is the best 2-strike hitter in the Pirate organization. Could well be considered one of the best in all of baseball. He'll many a time take a strike, sometimes 2, before he even starts to work. They swung to the right on him. And the 0-1 pitch, and knocks him back as he gets off the plate on a fastball in on his thighs, 1-1. So if McNally had the idea of brushing him back, he was successful. Baltimore leading 5 runs on 7 hits. The Pirates 3 runs on just 3 hits. All 3 runs unearned. 1-1 is outside. So he goes to the outside after knocking him back off the plate with an inside pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Clemente would appear to be really stepping in the bucket, but that is not so. Here's the 2-1 delivery. And Bowdy rips it sharply off to the right side. Backhanded beautifully by Johnson, throws him out. So the Baltimore defense that was errant in the second inning has come on here now. And there was a fine play by Davey Johnson off to the right, backhanding the ball and throwing out the speedy Bowdy Clemente. Here's Willie Stargell. He struck out, he walked, and he grounded out to short. Baltimore 5, Pittsburgh 3 in the top half of the 8th inning. Off-speed curveball up high, ball 1. Apparently some of the fans behind home plate umpired a little better than Nestor Shylock. Ball 1. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and McNally is outside, ball 2, wasting no time. One thing McNally does not want to do is walk Stargell to get to Bob Robertson. And who would be more aware of that than McNally? Nobody. Tough, hard-nosed pitcher. McNally, 2 balls and no strikes to Stargell. And a swing and a miss by Weaver, and a count of 2-1. Stargell has indicated that following this season, he will undergo surgery, correcting a problem in one of his knees. Here's the 2-ball, 1-strike pitch. And a strike to the outside corner, taken by Weaver, and a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes. Weaver, Darnell, Stargell. Leader in the major leagues with home runs, 48. Ball 2, strike 2 pitch. And Stargell hits it off the end of the bat. He'll have to re-chock it. Willie Hoppy Massey shot. Just hit it right off, took the lacquer off the end of the bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pirates broke on top with 3 runs in the second. Frank Robinson homered in the second to make it 3-1. Then Rettman hit a 3-run homer in the third and Buford in the fifth, and thus it's 5-3. Stargell fouls it back. Count holding at 2-2. Tomorrow's ball game, Bob Johnson, former Kansas City pitcher, and of course been with the Pirates all year long, obtained in a big trade with Kansas City. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Stargell. And Wilbur strikes out swinging. And that is the 8th and the all-time high in a single game by McNally. And it's 3 up and 3 down, and we go now to the bottom of the 8th inning. Baltimore 5 and the Pirates 3.
This is Kyle Road with baseball fan James Wright giving his first reactions to a revolutionary new 2-bladed razor from Gillette. The new Gillette Track 2 twin-blade shaving system.
I've got a clip in my chin, and with the double blade, I could probably get around my cliff chin without cutting. With the double blade, it seems like a new idea in shaving, and I thought I would try it because of the trouble I have in my cliff chin.
The new Gillette Track 2 twin-blade shaving system. It's one blade better than whatever you're using now.
I go out of mine because it might get around my chin.
Dad, I just did you a huge favor.
You did?
I saw the trouble you've been having attracting victims. So you robbed the blood bank. No, so I bought you this.
The dye look extra hold?
Brand new. Gives you more control than the dry look regular, but still keeps your hair natural, dry, so you don't scare victims away.
The dye look extra hold hair groom from Gillette. Looks pretty good.
That's the stuff, Dad.
Look at that can. Such an appetizing blood red.
Well, now you begin to look ahead to the 9th inning when Bob Robertson, Manny Sanguin, and Jose Pagan will try to get the Pirates back in the ballgame. 1 year ago, the Orioles came into the playoffs with 11 consecutive victories, won 3 in a row, at that time against Minnesota, and then the first 3 of the World Series for 17 in a row. Here in 1971, they won the last 11 in a row, 3 in a row over Oakland, or 14 in a row, and today they're trying to win their 15th in a row. But before the Pirates try to get back in the action, the Orioles have one more shot at it. Smooth Powell to face Bob Miller, and here's Bob Prince. Doc Ellis is, of course, the pitcher of record, having gone 2 1/3 innings for 4 runs. Boog Powell watching a pitch take a little backspin, go to the outside corner for a called strike. Boog playing, as Jim Simpson told you, with a bad right hand, but with either hand he can knock a ball out of the park, and he's proven that plenty of times. Outfield way around to the right, infield shift partially on, and Miller sends him a fastball, started to back up, just did miss the inside corner, 1-1. Cash is back on the edge of the outfield grass. Right field is really a bad situation. There's nothing they can do about it. It's just all kinds of tough turf out there. A let up, and it's low. As Miller turned that one over a little bit, 2 balls and a strike. The ground crew here has done an excellent job under very trying conditions. 2 balls and a strike. The 2-1 pitch to Powell bounces into the dirt, ball 3. Jim Simpson informed they had to put in something like 1,700 square yards of new turf just to get this field even close to being ready. They raised new turf, Bob, out in center field. They put in 1,100 in time for the championship series, but there was more rain, so they've added another 600. It would affect balls that are hit on a sharp line or perhaps some of the footing. The infield appears to be in pretty good condition. 3 balls and a strike to Boog Powell. Baltimore leading 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Miller's fastball flogged on one hop down to Robertson, who has to let the ball play him, and on the second hop he throws to Miller for the out. Robertson that time had to back up and take that second hop, letting the ball play him momentarily. Miller covering on the play. And now here comes Frank Robinson, who homered and then struck out in the third and again in the fifth. His home run back in the second made the score at that time 3-1 Pittsburgh. But then in the third, if you're just tuning in, Mark Belanger singled, and with 1 out, Buford singled, and Rettman slapped one out of here to make it 4-3 Baltimore. Then the home run by Buford on the first pitch from Moose in the 5th inning made it 5-3 Baltimore. Robinson taking outside a ball, outfield deep and around the left to him. Bat held perpendicular to the ground. The delivery is a fastball at the knees. A call strike 1-1. Pitcher of record, of course, is Ellis. And McNally on the plus side of this one for the moment as it stands 5-3 Baltimore. 1 out in the 8th, none on. Miller on the 1-1 pitch. Overhand curveball left, right up the middle for the base hit. Sending a hanging curveball. He came out over the top with it, and Robinson lashed into it, and that's the 8th hit of the ball game against Pirate pitching. Now the batter is going to be Ellie Hendricks, who's 0 for 3. So no Pirate pitcher has gone unscathed here. Although Miller has yet to be scored on, Ellie Hendricks, who grounded to second, lined after Clemente, bounced out to short. 1 out and 1 on in the Baltimore 8th, and they lead 5-3 in Game 1 of the 1971 World Series. Baltimore, of course, the defending world champion. Game 2 will be here tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in Pittsburgh. Thursday if necessary, and the Wednesday game will be a night game, first in Major League World Series history. They're going to play Hendricks very much around, and even with a runner at first in Frank Robinson, the Pirates are infield shifting. A swing and a miss as Miller turned that ball over and reacted almost like a screwball to Ellie. Hendricks and Etchebarren, two very fine catchers. The Pirates are blessed with much the same in Sanguine and Milt Mays. 1 out and 1 on. Robertson holding to Robinson at first. And Ellie ran up on that ball like he was going to bunt. And it's a 1-1. That brought Pagan in rather sharply from third. Pirates infield, Pagan, Hernandez, Cash, and Robertson. Manager Danny Murtaugh delayed a long time today before announcing his lineup, knowing McNally was going to pitch. And here's a look to first, the 1-1 delivery, and it's low into the dirt, a ball blocked nicely by Sanguine. Murtaugh says that he just comes to a ballpark and he just sits and thinks a little bit, normally in a rocking chair. And he gets a feeling and he just puts his line. It's not an intuitive thing, but he just has his ideas about who will do what. And about the best way to find out if you're playing is come out and look on the dugout and find the lineup card about a half an hour of the game time. 2 balls and a strike. We'll look over to first, and the pitch to the plate, and it's hammered foul off first into the Pirate dugout. Count of 2-2. National League dignitaries all seated on the first base side, of course, likewise on the third base side for the American League. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn on the third base side today, undoubtedly will switch tomorrow. Ball 2, strike 2 count. Pretty good talent seated down below there. Casey Stengel, Stan Musial, and many others over on the National League side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a quick throw to first, back in the nest is Frank Robinson. It'd be pretty hard, Jim Simpson, to figure out where to put Casey Stengel. He has allegiance on both sides of the fence. 2-2 pitch, beat foul, a good change up in his eyes. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Baltimore, 5 runs on 8 hits and 2 errors, and those 2 errors cost Baltimore's McNally 3 runs. But Baltimore power has overcome it. Home runs by Frank Robinson, Redmond, and Buford. There's another foul off, another change, and the count holding at 2-2. Hendricks way out in front of that. Ball 2, strike 2. McNally will look at Robertson, Sanguine, and Pagan in the 9th inning for Pittsburgh. He has retired 18 batters in a row, has struck out 8 Pirates. His season high is high in his career. Foul away to the left out of play, and the count holding 2-2. He had 6 strikeouts in his first game, which was his high, when he beat Washington for his first victory. When he won his 20th game, he struck out 7. Not known, as Jim Simpson told you, particularly as a strikeout pitcher. So here has come up with 8. And has really locked himself into a fine bit of pitching. 2 balls, 2 strikes. to Ellie Hendricks. 2-2 pitch. Fastball pops him up foul. It's maybe playable. Sandian goes back near the railing and leans in. Just can't quite get to it. Over in Pittsburgh in the championship series in a game that was most vital to the Pirates against the Giants, Richie Hebner went in, leaned in 3 rows, and retired Tito Fuentes on a leadoff pop foul in the 9th inning. Hendricks must have broken his bat on that one, or no, he's just going back to get some stickum for his hand. Yes, the crowd has not been announced, but Jim and I assume that it'll be well over 50,000. Baltimore in the last couple of years has really come alive as a baseball town. Ball 2, strike 2. Frank Robinson, the runner at first. Miller checks over there, comes to the plate, and there's the ball hit broken down off the glove of Cash, knocks it down, and has no play. And Hendricks pulls up Wayne down at first base, holding on to his right thigh. He was off balance after he hit the ball, and it took a funny hop, and Cash backhanded it, knocked it down, could not make the play. It'll be a base hit. Two on now, and the batter will be Brooks Robinson, who flied to center, went out pitching to first and singled up the middle. And immediately action in the Pirate bullpen. Bob Beal is up and listening again. So Brooks Robinson in. Baltimore leading 5-3. In all the championship games against Oakland, they won all 3, and won with runs of 5 runs in each game. And they're leading here 5-3. Now Robinson at second and Hendricks at first. And the pitch from Miller is low, ball 1. First infield hit for Baltimore in this game, of which they have 9. 3 of them have left the park. Another one, a booming triple. Now swing and a foul tip on a count of 1-1, and Brooks Robinson pulled the trigger. He was on the end of the pump handle for that one. Clemente, the right fielder, is playing Brooks very shallow and off to the right, giving him better than 90 feet of the right field line. There are those in baseball who say that when it comes to going and getting a ball and throwing it, nobody has been superior ever to Roberto. He's considered a premier right fielder of baseball. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a high pop foul. It's off the left side. Pagan is over near the dugout and makes the catch, and then comes scurrying back up to third. So it's 2 out. Now, in considering Clemente as the right fielder, they're talking now about his great ability to field, run and get a ball and throw it. They are not saying that he's the greatest right fielder of all time. A fellow down in Atlanta by the name of Henry Aaron has a pretty good hand on that title himself. There's been some great right fielders in all of baseball. As we play now here in the bottom half of the 8th inning, Dave Johnson will be the batter. The Orioles lead 5-3. Runner at second is Robinson. Ellie Hendricks at first. Johnson is 0 for 3. Bob Miller with 2 out working here. Outfield straight away to Johnson. A foul off the curveball, straight back, strike 1. It's opened up with Boog Powell bouncing out to first base, pitcher covering. And then Frank Robinson hit something off the end of the bat, like sort of a hanging slider out into center field. Ellie Hendricks beat out a base hit to the infield off the glove of Dave Cash. And now with 2 down, it's Dave Johnson, right-hand batter, count of 0-1. Miller comes to the plate, a curveball check swing back off the glove of pitcher Miller, and a throw to first by Cash, but not in time. It's a base hit. Miller appeared to get a little piece of that. And then Cash, coming over from second base, backhanded the ball on the third base side of second. His throw was not in time. And so they have another infield hit, and the bases are loaded to Mark Belanger. 2 down in the Baltimore A. So the last 2 hits have been infield singles, and both times Dave Cash has tried to make the out, has not been able to do it. So Belanger, who tripled and singled and scored a run in 3 at-bats, stands in. 2 down here in the Baltimore 8th inning, and they lead 5-3. Baltimore now has 3 pitchers loosening in their bullpen. Starts with one, Bob Veal. Miller will now wind up. And the pitch to Belanger, low on the outside corner for a ball. Weaver just getting somebody hot in the Baltimore bullpen in the event the Pirates come up with anything in the 9th inning in the way of a rally. Here's a pitch, and here's a ball chopped down to the shortstop. Hernandez slips it on to Dave Cash. The force play on Johnson. The Birds are out in the 8th. No runs, 3 hits, no errors, and 3 left at the end of 8 innings of play. Baltimore 5 and the Pirates 3.
You rode into town with a poker face, and his eyes were like red-hot lead. And you could tell he was looking for a game, because this is what he said. Get the girls and let's all go bowling. No matter what you do, when the word is down, bowling is for everybody.
Bowling, it's for everybody. A perfect solution to keep you feeling young and fit. National Bowling Council says go bowling.
Now the high shell finisher, turtle wax is even higher.
This year the turtle has a harder shell than ever. The only thing that gets through is sunlight, Mama. Liquid or cream car wax, the turtle goes on easy and stays on hard.
Now the high shell finisher, turtle wax is even higher.
New improved turtle wax. Anything else is mock turtle.
Along with Bob Prince, Jim Simpson in Baltimore, top of the 9th inning, and the last chance for the Pirates to send up home run hitter Bob Robertson, followed by Manny Sanguin and Jose Baton. While out in the Baltimore bullpen, Earl Weaver is taking no chances. Eddie Watt, a right-hander, Pete Rickard, a left-hander, and Pat Dobson, a right-hander who is one of the 4 20-game winners. All 3 are warming up. 9th inning, 5-3 Baltimore. McNally gets through it. And Baltimore will lead in the World Series 1 game to none. Here's Bob Robertson, and here's Bob Prince.
And McNally comes to the plate with a curveball hammered foul off third, and it's strike 1. McNally has retired 18 Pirates in order, has picked up 8 strikeouts, has walked only 2, and one of the walks cost him back in the 2nd inning when the Pirates took a 3-0 lead. And they runs run earned as Baltimore came up with 2 errors at the wrong time to them. Then Frank Robinson hit the home run to make it 3-1. Then Rettman hit a 3-run homer in the 3rd, and Buford in the 5th, and that's the story thus far. The 0-1 to Robertson, he turned that pitch over and swept outside for a ball, 1-1. Now Dave Justy has replaced Bob Veal in the Pirate bullpen. A 1-1 delivery to Robertson, hammered over 3rd and going out foul. Hooking shot down the line, just out foul. Rettman, who's now in the left field, coming on to get that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Baltimore leading 5-3 in the top of the 9th. Tomorrow it will be Jim Palmer and Bob Johnson in Game 2 of the 1971 World Series. Here's the look by McNally. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch, and it's high. Paid attendance here today, 53,229. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Bob Robertson. McNally reading his sign now from Hendricks, who sets to the outside and low. 2-2 pitch, and Bobby another foul off 3rd. Robinson guarding that line, going a little steady with it down the 3rd base side, and Boog foul likewise off 1st. Baltimore outfield necessarily around to the left, and a big gap straight up the middle in the outfield between Blair and Robinson. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And there's a high fly to shallow left. Back Belanger up Rettman, and Rettman calls him off, gets under, 1 out. That is 19 in a row now for McNally. the batter will be Manny Sanguillen. Got a ball on a fielder's choice in the second inning, and that's when Baltimore mishandled the ball. And he ultimately came around to score on the play in which he moved into second on a throwing error charged to Melanger, hit Robertson in the back of the head. Robertson came in to score, and Sanguillen moved into second. And then another error, and then he came. There's a slow chopper to the shortstop side, takes a bad hop on Belanger, throws low into the dirt, into the Pirate dugout, and into second will go Sanguillen. And Belanger will be charged, I know, with one error. We'll see what they rule on the ball that was hit to him. Remember now, Sanguillen can run better than any catcher in baseball. He is fast. That is an error, and apparently an error all the way. So it marks the second time Sanguillen has been involved in getting on base on an error, and both times an error by the shortstop. Now, here's Pagan. He is 0 for 3. So after retiring 19 in a row, an error puts Sanguillen at second. 1 out. Pagan takes a sinking pitch low ball on. Jose bounced one off the plate up to the pitcher, McNally, who threw him out. Then flying to left field, routed deep, and grounded out to third. 5-3 the score. The Bucks have a tying run at second. Here's a look in the 1-0. And there's a high pop into shallow right. Back goes Johnson, the second baseman. Up comes Frank Robinson, the right fielder. And he throws it away, and there are 2 down. And now there's going to be a pinch batter. And we'll see whom manager Danny Murtaugh selects. And it's going to be Al Oliver. Al Oliver will come up and bat in place of Jackie Hernandez. Oliver on the year batted at .282, 14 home runs, 64 runs batted in, and has basically been devastating against left-hand pitching.
Well, Oliver will come up there, Bob, as the tying run, and of course Oliver is one of them that Danny Murtaugh chose not to play today, along with Rich Hebner and Pagan and the replacement out in center field, Gene Clines. Neither one have hit, but then again, who has hit the Pirates? They only had 3 all day.
Yes, that's exactly right, and the only one that was really stung, was the double by Clemente in the first inning with 2 down. McNally works, and Oliver takes it low and away, ball 1. Oliver, a crowding type of batter. Outfield's going to play him to pull, and he has extremely good power to left center. Sanguillen out at second base, 2 away, 5-3 Orioles here in the 9th. McNally delivers, and Oliver takes a sinking pitch low for the ball, and the count is 2-0. On deck is Bob Miller. Obviously, he will not bat in the event Oliver keeps the inning rolling. 2 balls and no strikes. The Bucks have been a great 2-out scoring club all year long. They need it here. And a strike sent in there by McNally. 2-1 as Oliver was taking all the way. With 1 out, Sanguillen reached second base safely. Did that in the second inning on an error and has done it here in the 9th. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pitch to Oliver. Left-hander takes strike 2. Two balls, 2 strikes with 2 out, runner at second, 5-3 Baltimore in the top of the 9th. McNally trying to put this one away to give the Birds a lead in the series. Here's the 2-2 pitch. There, he takes it. Oliver went down swinging as McNally records his 9th strikeout. And Baltimore is off and winging in the first game. The inning showed no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. And Baltimore wins it 5-3.